Hey, thanks for clicking on the video. This is the Kaufman is Alive YouTube channel. I look at comic books new and old. Today I'm looking at a new comic book. This is by Marvel Comics, Wolverine number 50. This just came out this week. It's the final issue of the Wolverine series, set in the Krakoa era of the X-Men universe. Ben Percy's the writer, and they've had a bunch of fill-in artists, basically. This series started off with Victor Bogdanovich as the artist. He's awesome. And then he handed it off to Adam Kubert, who's also great. And it kind of feels like they've been trying to find their footing ever since in this story, trying to get an artist. They've just been using lots of different fill-in artists. This one is Jeff Shaw and Corey Smith. This is a larger issue. It's a little thicker than a normal comic. It's got a backup story in here. I think the main story is probably 30 pages at least. But this series overall has been, I'd say, good. It's had its ups and downs. Having one writer through all 50 issues certainly has led to some consistency, which is good. And you don't get that a lot these days. I don't know what that says about comic books where a 50 issue run is like a big deal, but that's where we are. So I'm not sure who exactly drew this cover. It's a variant cover. I think it's Justin Mason and Federico Blee, because it's not Frank Miller, it's not Ryan Stegman, it's not Lineal Francis Yu, it's not Marco Checchetto. So it's not Greg Land, that's for sure. But it's a pretty cool cover. I like all the line work. You can tell this isn't like a digital drawing. Lots of little hash marking everywhere and bloody. Very cool. But the story starts off here with we're in Krakoa, and Wolverine's got his adamantium armor. He's fighting Bad Seed here, who is Graydon Creed, the son of Sabretooth. And Sabretooth's on his way, as we saw at the end of the last issue. I did make a review of Wolverine number 49, so if you haven't seen that, you should check that out before you look at this, so you know what's going on. But, so right as Wolverine's about to get into battle here with Bad Seed, Sabretooth shows up and puts his paw right through the chest of his own son. So Wolverine's like, that was your son. Don't you care about anyone? So, as I kind of figured, Sabretooth got into this battle and took out Graydon Creed, so Wolverine didn't even have to. I kind of figured that was going to happen. It kind of seemed like it was leaning that way. And it did. So, when I was reading through this, I noticed there's this panel here that's got this percentage that's like inching up. And I had no idea what this was. And I had to read through the whole issue and figure out what it was. And we'll get into that here in a second. But then we get the data page here, which the red on black is kind of hard to read. But it looks cool. It's got all the characters here listed in the story, all of X-Force, all the Saber Teeth, and the Exiles. And some of them have died already. Dakin and Kid Omega have both already died. And on the Exiles, Melter and Toad have both been killed in this Sabretooth War storyline. So, kind of a running tally sheet of everyone who's still standing. We got the Exiles here fighting all the Sentinels. Sabretooth and Wolverine back into action here. We get that little percentage creeping up here. Still don't know what that's about. But we're going to get the final battle between Sabretooth and Wolverine here. Sabretooth leads Wolverine to the Quiet Council, which of course they've all abandoned it at this point, but The tables are still there, and that's where Sabretooth leads Wolverine just to drag him into the pit, which is of course where the X-Men put Sabretooth throughout the entire Krakoa era. So we get this little percentage inching up here again. It's at 97%. And as Wolverine gets dragged down into the pit, X-Force and the Exiles continue battling these Sentinel monsters. And, I kind of figured that this armor that Wolverine got, that they've been making a big deal about the past few months, this adamantium indestructible armor, was probably going to get destroyed right out of the gates. And what do you know? That's exactly what happens here. It reminds me of when the Spider-Man armor was first introduced in, I think it's Web of Spider-Man number 150, if I'm not mistaken. And as soon as he gets the armor on, within a couple pages it gets destroyed, and we never see it again. And I kind of figured that was the same thing that was going to happen with this armor, because, what do you do when you get an armor? You just got to break it, right? So Wolverine's in the pit here. He's being confronted by some of his nightmares. Silver Fox. There's a demonoid, Jean Grey. They're all attacking him. But suddenly the pit, which Sabretooth has like a psychic connection to the pit, which he gained while he was down there. So he's using his psychic connection to control the pit and capture Wolverine. But suddenly he loses control of the pit. We get a good drawing here of X-Force and the Exiles confronting Sabretooth. But it's actually Phoebe Cuckoo who is taking the psychic link from Sabretooth. She's in control now. And they put the gun to Sabretooth's head. They're ready to take him out, put him back in jail, do whatever they are going to do. But Wolverine says this war is between the two of us. He wants to take on Creed. And then he says, he gets asked by X-23, Logan, how are you still standing? And he says, forge his armor. It wasn't meant to protect me. It was meant to reactivate my mutant gene, bring my powers back. And then it's got a little asterisk that says, Forge's mystery invention hinted at in X-Force number 25. So a good callback there from something that happened a couple years ago, that we find out that this mystery machine that Forge had been working on was like a mutant power amplifier or a mutant gene activator, essentially. So Wolverine had to wear this armor, and it brought back his mutant power, essentially. We don't know how or really anything. It's just magical equipment created by Forge. So that solves that. Wolverine's got his powers back. He's getting into battle with Sabretooth. The final battle. Pretty good splash page here. I like that. He's got the Muramasa blade. He's got his claws. Then we get a really cool page here of Wolverine and Sabretooth in their final battle. Just brutal. Nice panel here down in the corner. So Wolverine drives the blade right into Sabretooth. Cuts his arm off. But then Sabretooth pulls the blade out, but Wolverine cuts his other hand off. And we get a great double splash of Wolverine driving the blade, presumably into Sabretooth here, and all the lives Sabretooth's taken on the blood of the blade. Real nice face portrait here. I like the little holes where the claws pop out of. That looks really cool. That glove, it's got like the padding on top of the glove. And then we get all these little like slices down here in each panel. More and more each panel. As the intensity is just ramping up as Wolverine is presumably slicing up Sabretooth here. And then we get, all the body parts, Wolverine. Another great splash page. I do want to make one critique here. It says, this is for my son. This is for my friends. This is for Krakoa. And it's all, edited cursing. And I just think that is so lame when they do that. It just really takes me out of it. It's like, you should just write, this is for my son. This is for my friends. This is for Krakoa. You don't have to put the, censored bad words in there. Just put the bad words in there, or just don't put them in there. Don't put a little sensory thing there. It's just so lame. But other than that, I like this comic so far. It's pretty good. But we get kind of a weird shift in tone here after Wolverine slaughters Sabretooth and dismembers him. X-Force and the Exiles decide that it's time to go their own separate ways here. But we get this lamenting from Wolverine where after he's murdered Sabretooth in cold blood, he just starts talking about, reminiscing on Krakoa and talking about how Krakoa was the happiest time of his life. So kind of a weird ending, a total tonal shift as they try to just wrap this series up with killing off Sabretooth and showing Wolverine has, gotten what he's wanted. He's happy, right? So, I don't know. Not necessarily quite earned, I'd say. Then we get a backup story here. Larry Hama's writing it, and Daniel Picciotto is the artist. This story takes place kind of out of context. It seems like an evergreen story. At first, I thought this just goes chronologically after the events of what we just read, but I think this actually probably takes place in the past because this guy running this ice cream shop says that, oh, you're the guys who live on that hill on Salem. So this is when the X-Men still lived in Salem. And basically this guy just wants to show them something because he figures out they're mutants and he has something he thinks they'll like to see. It turns out he's got this sentinel in a barn. And, Wolverine and Jubilee are like, you shouldn't have that here. And suddenly the eyes start moving. And the sentinel's sensors come on and starts attacking them. So we just get a quick little battle here between Wolverine, Jubilee, and the Sentinel. And it's pretty cool. It's a pretty good backup story. The Sentinel grabs this other guy, though, and we find out that this guy who led them here is just learning that he's also a mutant because the Sentinel targeted him as well. But they take down the Sentinel, and it blows up. And the guy says, so I'm a mutant, huh? Wolverine says, yeah, but not a particularly useful one. So, not a bad story. And then we get a final little wraparound story here with Ben Percy writing and whoever the artists are here. I'm not quite sure. But we get kind of a nice portraits of every little Wolverine here. There's Weapon X, the original Wolverine. There's Patch, X-Force, Team X Wolverine. There's World War II Wolverine. Pretty cool. This is just kind of like wrapping up the whole series here. Wolverine talking about, he's been in so many fights, he can't even remember all of them. But living on Krakoa has been, one of the great times of his life, essentially. So, again, a good way to wrap this up. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Wolverine here. They've got like 3 more Wolverine series coming out this year. Mini-series. There's a series by Greg Capullo and Jonathan Hickman coming out, which looks pretty awesome. But at $7.99 for this cover price, I don't know if I can recommend this issue. I would recommend the whole series. This Wolverine series was pretty solid. They wrapped this up all right. Good battle here between Wolverine and Sabretooth. And a good backup story. So, I don't know. I'd say a slight recommendation on this. The cover price is a little much, but let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you on the next video.